Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Webcomics Hubcast, episode 5, season 2, tracing and other stuff. There's other stuff I want to talk about today. I've got a whole bunch of contest shit I actually care about. Um, oh, there's a whole bunch of contest shit I actually care about to talk about because I've read a lot of your entries. Some of them are really good. Some of them are questionable. There's a very consistent use of something I don't really like, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I wanted to start off really light, something really simple, something basic as hell, because frankly, it's funny. And I wanted to talk a little bit about an incident that I've been a witness to lately involving tracing. So I think we'll start from this. So if you don't know this, I am the moderator on the Webtoons subreddit, r/Webtoons, not r/Webtoon, Webtoons. And like 2 days ago or something, a day ago, I'm literally opening Reddit to be sure of how long ago it was. Yeah, it was literally a day ago. A day ago for me, there was a mild controversy. No, it was 2 days ago. Cool. There was a mild controversy on the subreddit in which somebody posted someone's work and then said it looked very similar to some assets that were floating around. The assets were apparently on Pinterest and other places. And, you know, I'm a curious person. You know, I like to learn. I like to read. You know, I love to engage my brain, expand my mind, all that, whatever garbage I can say to make you not think I did this exclusively because I thought it was funny. And you know, I looked into the allegation. I also closed the thread because it was a bad thread that was just encouraging people to be kind of nasty to someone. But I'll just show you the work in question. I think this is one of the things that requires a visual aid, so to speak. So the creator of the comic in question is called what'd you call it? Dishonor Ring. That's what it's called. A combination, like it sounds like a combination of Elden Ring and Dishonored, but not in a cool way. And they were accused of tracing. These are the two items that were used to accuse them of tracing. It was this and this. This one specifically was referring to an asset that you can see on the right. You know, that's what they were referring to. And you know, the Reddit thread went into quite extensive detail, saying that that this person had copied and stolen an asset, and sorry, not copied, had traced over the asset to make his comic. Their comic. I have no idea what gender the individual is. Their comic, and I closed the thread down. I thought this is a crock of shit. I left the comment at the top of the thread, which is essentially, this is, even if it was true, this isn't enough to dogpile on this person. Closed the threads, moved on with my life. And then, like Apollo calling me from the, like I had summoned Apollo. Like I had summoned Apollo to arrive and fucking fuck my shit up. I found some tweets. Of course I found some tweets. Who else would say something a little bit unhinged if they weren't on Twitter? And they weren't all unhinged. I'm being a little bit mean and a little bit facetious. But I saw a few tweets from Exploded Kid and Larkin Wren and Chelsea, the creator of Asterion. All people I actually really respect. I need to make that clear. Whatever I say about them today, I respect all of them, regardless of however this turns out. I respect all of them. I don't think any of them meant anything particularly mean. I think they were all just trying to respond to something they saw as a problem. And I just want that to be clear, open up. And if you think I'm saying this because I have some professional whatever to maintain, real, honest, genuine conversation, I could tell them to go fuck themselves right now. I couldn't give a shit. I could. I'm saying this because I genuinely don't think they meant anything bad. If they did, I would be the first person to be a dick about it because that's all I know how to do. So just outlining that so you don't think I'm saying this to protect some garbage fucking mutual agreement shit. I genuinely just believe that they meant it in a nice way. I'm going to show you what they said. They basically subtweeted this person. If you don't know what a subtweet is when you it's when you put out a tweet saying something, but you don't tag the individual, right? And you just kind of put it out there. We all do it when something, the webcomic community is notorious for it when something bad happens, because they don't want to call that person's ire onto them. It's not really useful though if you subtweet someone and then you post their work, post the thing that you're subtweeting them about into your comments, and then people can go find them and then harass them, which they did for this individual. But let me just show you the tweets. And I also should say, like, again, not all of them are like particularly evil or anything, and I don't think any of them are evil at all. So this is Chelsea's tweet, the creator of Asterion. She's like, hey, I'm a huge proponent of tracing, but to be clear, you have to have the rights to an image to trace it. This means you have to take the photo, pose, 3D model by yourself, buy the rights to the image, or you have to have explicit permission from the creator. This is the Larkin Wren tweet. Folks entering the call to action Webtoon contest, don't trace existing copyrighted works in your panels. Guys, it's extremely illegal and it makes you unemployable. Even heavily referencing copyrighted compositions is infringement. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Also, no, it's not normal for Webtoon artists to trace or copy copyrighted works for their comic panels. Again, it is copyright infringement and is illegal to do so. 3D models and other similar resources like stock photography, etc., that can be purchased for this kind of use is not the same thing as tracing the commissioned exclusive works of independent artists. Doesn't matter where you found it, come on. I have so much to say about this specific tweet. And also this one. This is from Explodey Kid. One of the people who retweeted my last post is there. Oh, hey, Sasha. I don't even know if you're watching this. But from Explodey Kid, if I traced art with the intention to pass it off as my own, my chosen pieces to steal would definitely not be art from Pinterest that every artist and their mom has seen by now. Okay. All right. Let's unpack a few of those things. And I'm gonna start really fucking simply. I have looked through Pinterest for both of the pieces that people are claiming. This one, which is off center, and I just need to like kind of adjust. This one and this resource, because I wanted to find out who actually made them, because it's important to the question. It's also important to understanding like what the problem is here. And I've read the person's comic. I've read Dishonor Ring. That's the name of the webtoon. In fact, if I can just open it here, that's the webtoon. Just so you know, I've actually read it. Right? I've actually done a lot of research for this one because it was kind of dumb. And I was a little bit bored. And, you know, it's a slow week. All the call to action entries I read weren't super interesting. Whole thing. Anyway, so I did a bunch of research into this one. I read this person's comic. I have read this person's entire comic. I also bothered to look at these resources and find out where they came from. If you're wondering what reason I'm talking about the ones on the right. And I also spoke to the person in question who was accused of the tracing, right? I did my due diligence. And it works out like this. One, it's not illegal to trace a pose. Like I just need to kind of start there. Nobody can own poses. Poses, because the human body can be any shape, form, or can be in any form or like mode when face up to a camera. If you're using a relatively realistic human pose, no one can own that. Just so we're absolutely clear on that one. That's just the opening statement. Nobody owns poses. It's not possible to own a pose. If anyone tells you that, they're lying to you or they don't know. I don't know why they think you can own a pose, because if you could own a pose, a lot of things would be very fucking different. You can trace a pose. Not the exact pose, not the exact content of the pose, and it's important to make this identification. You can trace a wireframe of a piece of art. By a wireframe, I mean literally just the outline. You can do that. As long as you don't copy the general composition and you utilize it in a different way, there is a lot of arguments to be made for you. Now, am I saying that you should go do that as a willy-nilly because you want to? No, there's a little bit of discretion you should use when doing this, but largely it's fine. there's a little bit more detail I want to add to that point, but I just wanted to open with that. The second thing is, if I don't know if any of you caught that earlier. I'm just gonna go back to the last screen. Did any of you catch that one of the resources has a resource that is meant to be copied from? This, you guys see this action pose thing, this action pose thing on the right here? All of that, yeah. Whoever posted this on Pinterest is a son of a bitch. Whoever posted this on Pinterest is an asshole, because I searched this. I went through Pinterest looking for this, and I found every Pinterest group that this is in. And this piece of art does not contain the actual accreditation to the actual person who made it, which is, you know, shit. Don't do that. Do not do that. I can't believe I have to explain this. Do not fucking steal someone's work. Like, it's kind of rich that everyone's using an asset that's been technically stolen from the creator, scrubbed of all accreditation, and they're trying to give a conversation about not stealing work. But whatever. Like, I'm not mad about that one. That was it's not like they knew. So, just so we all know what the original art piece is, this is the original art piece. I have it. This is the original art piece, and it's from Gopher Art. I spoke to Gopher actually today for this show, because I have no friends. Like, I'm just admit I have no friends. You guys are all my friends. It's a little bit sad, I know. But I spoke to Gopher today, and I asked Gopher, I said, hey, you know, Bud, Champ. They're Russian, by the way. They're a Russian creator. I found out this was their work on VK. VK is Russian Facebook. It's actually Russian everything. It's not just Facebook, it's like Facebook's SoundCloud, whatever. I asked them, and I DM'd them, I was like, hey, Gopher, just real quick, do you even give a shit if someone traces over your work? And they said no. And to some extent, that's not the whole story, right? Because, yeah, in this one instance, the guy lucked out. The person who heavily referenced this lucked out, and it happens to have come from someone who doesn't care, and it happens to have come from someone who made it for that purpose. But I think if you're using stuff like this, we shouldn't be beating someone up for it. We shouldn't be going out for them. I don't know. It just felt a little bit disingenuous to not acknowledge that point, not acknowledge that part. But I then suspected maybe everyone was having a little bit more issue, not with this one. In fact, they probably said this one is banal. And they probably, this one, I mean like the poses one, probably said this is banal, and they were more after the other one with the mummy, which I'm just gonna put on the screen again, with the mummy. And I went, okay, cool. The Mummy. So I looked that up. I found out who actually owns that. And I'm just going to, give me a second. I actually prepared it, and then I deleted the thing because I was doing some work with someone else. But I found out who drew it. It's Alvin Lee, who is currently an artist at Riot. And this is one of the this is one of the commissions he got for someone's character called Agent K9. It's not really, like, it's copyrighted. Everything is copyrighted when it's made, but this is it. That's who made it. That's where it's from. It's from 2008. It's been in Pinterest for like over a decade now. If Alvin gave a shit, he'd say something. So I just wanted to I wanted to start there, not as like a takedown of the idea of tracing copyrighted work being bad. I wanted to start there because I wanted to just kind of identify the harm, right? In my head, like, if you know, and I wouldn't say this, a lot of stuff I'm talking about today, I'm not a fucking lawyer. I spoke to a lawyer for this segment. I managed to get in contact with one IP lawyer in the UK to ask them some specific questions about IP. And I've also read the legal documentation on this. A lot of it took me most of the week. It sucked. But, I spoke to people, and as far as I understand it, right, as far as it's been explained to me, as far as it's come forward to me, it's a very muddy area, and we're going to talk a little bit about why it's muddy in a second. But one of the key things you learn about a lot of these, a lot of these infringements is they're based on harm. So they're based on damages done, right? Like an example is, let's say you got into a car accident and you came out completely unfucking scathed and the car wasn't yours. You have taken no damages and you can't really sue anyone. And like not just unscathed physically, I mean like unscathed physically and mentally and everything. You've taken no damages and you can't really sue anyone because there are no damages. Like you could probably make something up to sue them, but it doesn't mean it will go through. Most lawyers would be like, "You're fine? Yeah. You're totally fine? Yeah. Not much we can do, but because there's no point taking someone to court when you suffered no damages, right?" And the reason I'm pointing that out is because damages is kind of a relative thing. It's kind of a complicated thing to talk about. You realize that like it very much depends on who is claiming damages and why, but also very much depends on like how litigious the individual is, right? And that's kind of an important. These are all kind of little things that I was like reading about and picking up as I was going along. But what I wanted to get to here, the point I brought this up for was just like this person has not really damaged anyone's IP. Or anything. Like I've looked at the panel in Dishonor Ring. It's banal. The kid even replaced it. He replaced it. He was talking to me this afternoon and he redrew a new one and it's replaced. So it's not even there anymore. So the only thing that he might have copied is banal and does no damages. So I feel like if we're gonna drag someone for doing this, the level we went to was a bit much. Especially posting a subreddit subreddit post, a Reddit post down there, which on purpose or inadvertently led to people going to that subreddit to dogpile on this person, right? Like for me, it rubbed me very much the wrong way. I feel like the reaction was over the top. I feel like if we had a problem with what this person had done, a DM would have sufficed. Like if your problem was people tracing, a DM would have sufficed. If we had just made, look, I wouldn't give a shit if Larkin Wren and fucking Explodey Kid had made a tweet that was just like, guys, just a real quick reminder, tracing is a thing that you can do when you're starting out, but it's not something you want to consistently do for a regularly posted comic because it puts you in a position where your art is not really scaling and it makes you lack consistency and it messes with your creative potential. If that was what they had tweeted, I wouldn't be talking to you about this. I would be talking to you about the comics I read that I didn't like in the goddamn contest, right? That's where we would be right now. But instead, I'm talking about this because I feel like the art community regularly, disproportionately gets mad, especially when it comes to tracing, because of things we've been told with minimal context. Now I've gotten to the reason why I brought this up. Let's talk about what I understand about what you can trace. You can trace a fucking pose if you want to. As far as I understand it, you can trace a goddamn pose. Nobody owns poses. Fuck them. Nobody owns poses. You can trace any poses you want to. But understand that when you're tracing a pose, that you also have to consider that a panel and a scene is built off of its pose and its conjunct and the other elements within the scene. And as such, if you want to trace a pose, even from a copyrighted piece of material, you need to be aware that you don't want to trace it and then use that to build your and like also inadvertently steal the composition of that scene. And you can't. And you might be like, okay, well, if you can't own a pose, you can't own a composition. Like anyone can compose that. You're right. But the thing is, the artist owns very specifically that combination of things together. That pose, that general composition, the colors, the line work they did, all that stuff together, and the way the emotion, the things it evokes, they own that, right? So if you're gonna steal a pose from a copyrighted material, steal it and use it in a way that isn't particularly like. You take the general pose, by the way, not the details, and use it in a different way. I think the rule is essentially you own like 75% plus of it. And you might be like, how do they attribute percentage? Honestly, it's arbitrary. But just basically make it as much your own as possible. Don't just take the pose and then put your character on it and then make a very similar background. Take the pose, maybe put your character on it, give them different details, change where their arm positions are at, change like a few things about the legs, give it some good fucking time, right? And Asuya says in the chat, there's also tons of resources specifically made for tracing that people just don't know about. And some people will shame even legal tracing. Yeah, Don't shame people who legally trace. Remember those assets I showed you before that I got that from Gopher Art? Gopher says, fucking trace them if you want. And sometimes you need that help, right? Webtoon creators already trace because you need that help. You need your 3D models and your assets that you make in-house. And sometimes that includes assets that you have from outside that you are allowed to legally use. And we shouldn't shame people for doing that. And if it was about the copyrighted thing, you should teach them how to use it properly, not shame them for doing it in the first place. Tracing isn't illegal. There are like 4 arguments for tracing, right? Like there are 4 arguments around tracing that exist. And again, I'm not your goddamn fucking lawyer. And I don't know every situation you will ever be in. My point is just, if you're gonna trace something, 1, don't trace the details. Don't trace the details of the fucking piece. Don't do a 1-to-1. Get a wireframe and build off of that and modify that wireframe. Manipulate that wireframe, right? Do more with it than what you got. 2, don't be a dick. Make sure you try and use things that you can legally use generally. Like, there's no need to put yourself in a position where you're always like using something someone else has, right? Try and get stuff you can legally use. Kaji Purian says, my tracing is limited to 3D models and breakdown poses in comics. Tracing 3D models is totally valid due to time. It is totally valid to trace 3D models. It is totally valid to trace resources that exist. Like, and I cannot stress this enough, this fucking resource is a trace resource. If you can consistently maintain the art that you are doing, trace this goddamn resource. Fuck. Trace it. Why is my voice getting higher pitched? Trace the resource if you can consistently maintain it. Understand that, like, you know, every time you do stuff like this, it's less about like what it does to you on a copyright basis and more about what it does to you on like an artistic basis. You're going to be making this comic for a while. And this is the thing I wanted to bring up of the dishonoring person. I spent a long time making them look like a victim because they are. But they're also a dumbass. And I say this with love, not with hate, with a lot of fucking love. They're a dumbass. 2 reasons. 1, you don't have the consistency to pull this off. Why the fuck did you use this? 2, when you get featured, if you had done this one and become featured, and you're still needing to heavily reference so many materials, and it's not consistent, under the base pressure, you're needing to heavily reference materials, and it's not consistent, under the base fucking pressure of a contest that you don't even have to enter. Imagine how fucking bad you're gonna do when you enter the pressure of making 2 chapters a week, or 1 chapter a week times for every week for a month. What the fuck are you doing? Do you want to die? Your mother loves you, buddy. Your mother loves you, and you shouldn't do this to her. Holy shit. Like, what the fuck? Oh my God. I cannot believe that was a decision that you made. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at the person who did this, you know, because I think they're dumb or something. I am. I do think they're dumb. I just wish they had thought about it a little bit more than they did, because they clearly didn't think about it at all and just kind of went for it. Please learn basic fucking copyright knowledge. Please check the stuff that you use. If you use copyrighted materials because you saw like this fucking bomb ass pose, don't steal the composition too. And it's difficult. It's difficult. I know it's difficult, but like, you can utilize it. People have been doing that for all of time. And I'm not talking like internal stuff. I'm not talking like Disney doing that. I'm talking comic shit. I've been reading comics at this point since I was 7. I am an age now, right? And all the time I've been reading comics, I have seen a good amount of copyrighted material from other people's work, coming in other people's work. Some poses, I'm just saying. And that pose from the Mummy is a basic ass pose. Like, I looked at that Mummy pose and I saw it, and I saw the pose and my brain did like a full-on reboot because I've seen that pose a billion times. It's a basic ass action pose, right? But like, you know, I have a bunch of posts to reference from, like a beat for beat. I think in terms of like the actual pose, it's fine. I'm sorry, I was reading a comment there for audio listeners. I read a comment from Sim that's like a beat for beat rendition. I don't know about that. I think it's fine. I think there are some poses that are used so much now that it's fine. It's not. I'm not encouraging every beginner artist to do that. But if you're intermediate enough and you've seen this enough, and you see it in somewhere that does it the right way for you, and you're not stealing the composition, which you should be aware of how not to do, and you're building something new out of it, and you're reinventing it, adding your own stuff, and you own most of what you put down on that page, I think you're fine. I'll be honest. Again, I encourage you to Creative Commons. I encourage you to MIT license. I encourage you to pick the stuff that you can legally use. Get your pose books, get your shit. Use the stuff that you can use and one-to-one and trace if you need to. But like, I don't, if you're gonna do the copyright stuff, please, like, use your brain a little bit, right? Use your brain a little bit. Let me just read some comments. Now. From Jenny Tunes, I really think the sites like Pinterest make these copyright takedowns even more model because of the lack of credit. If you knew more about sources of these assets, we would see a lot of them were made for people to use. So much of the free to use stuff that I know of are put on Pinterest without credit, and people just default and say it's not meant for this. No, you're totally fucking right, Jenny. That's like a big problem. Like, while doing this research, a big problem for me was being able to like figure out if something was free or not. Finding like it was a chore. Let's say that. It was a trip, and I cannot explain to you how annoying that was to figure out whether something was actually usable or not. And I totally get what Jenny's coming from. Let me see. From Semi Enigma, anyone getting chewed out for having a character's hair color or proportions being too close to some random character you've never heard of? I have. Yeah, because a lot of you can't own poses. You can't own poses because they're so basic. Everyone can draw the same pose. The reason why that pose triggered my fucking brain to reboot is because I've seen that pose a million times now. I've seen it in every Action comic, every Marvel Avengers. I've seen it in House of M. It's in fucking every Spider-Man comic at this point. It's in, and I love Spider-Man. Y'all know I love Spider-Man. It's in freaking Batman. In the New 52, that pose is at least there 5 or 6 times. In all the New 52 comics, 5 or 6 times that exact pose. Like, it's because it's a basic ass pose. It's a basic ass pose. You can't own a pose. I need to reiterate, you can't own a fucking pose. I've seen it happen a lot. There aren't any new combos anymore. A character's never going to look like some other characters that exist from Rosebird TV. Yes, fucking A. Love to see that everyone at least gets that. But anyway, if you're having trouble with poses, and you're really struggling, and you're just like, I don't know how to reinvent a thing or whatever, I'm gonna give you guys a resource from someone who I really respect. Right? I'm gonna give you guys a resource from someone who I really respect. This is a Dorcas stock. This is a Dorcas stock. I love a Dorcas stock. They don't even know I'm doing this, and they don't know who the fuck I am. Never spoken to them in my life. I just really respect their hustle. They have a ton of reference sheets with real people, and some of them are free. This is my favorite one, Non-Binary Disaster Bard. You gotta love it. Please, 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 just go there and get them. Please go there and get them. Just fucking, enough of them are free. The mask one is free. There's the comic, the stick people one is free. There's another one of people that's free, and sometimes they randomly go free. Oh, the swishy dress free, this pack is free. Please, get something that's not gonna get you dealing with this shit on Twitter. I'm begging you. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I don't know, it's just, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. From reinventing pose, from Kaiji Kachipuran, from reinventing poses, just take a pose, pose the 3D model, change your perspective and zoom and bam, new pose. The problem is, Kaji, is that that's not a new pose, which is really annoying, is that will never be a new pose because 101 people would have done that. Like, but I see what you're saying. If you find a pose you really like on the webs in the copyrighted material, pick up a poser, make the pose in the poser, and then change your camera angle. And I respect that. I think that's a real vibe, response. And I wish that when those feature creators were subtweeting some kid, they had opened with that. I wish that's what they did. I wish that's what they should have done. But another thing, I was talking to a friend today, and I think there's something that I wanted to have this conversation about. And I want you guys to give me your real opinions on this, because I can see all your brains are fucking overfiring, and I love to see it. I love to see it. And I'll read a few more of your comments in a second. Fuck, I broke my head. But real talk. And I just wanted to ask. I worked, if you guys don't know this, I say this every time. I worked in film. When we used anything, if I used like that post sheet from Go for Art, that'd be in the credits of my film, right? And you might be like, why would I use that post sheet? For storyboards. In film, you make storyboards that are almost exactly like what's going to be happening on film, right? So you might need some post sheets to make exact body references and moves and stuff. So if I use the post sheet like that to make my storyboard, that would be in my credits of my film. That's just how that works in film, right? And I feel like creators more often should be crediting the sources of their references, because, you know, that's a good thing to do. I feel like that would allow people to not only have access to more of these resources, because I 100% think that the reason why the Dishonor Ring kid used that piece was because they didn't have anything else. They didn't have anything else. And, you know, I think webcomic creators, when you make your comic, you got to, like, at the bottom, maybe just a link that takes you to a text file that tells everybody all the different, like, assets you used to get all of your references, so that other people can start doing that. And then we can stop having these shitty excuses for bullying, you know, for mild bullying going on. And I also want to make it clear, I actually think, like, of everyone who made the tweet, I think Chelsea's tweet was the most normal. I think Chelsea did it, like, was really, really nice and being really good. The other two, I have mixed feelings. But the Chelsea tweet, I think, was really nice. And I still respect all three of them, because I know they saw something, they went where they thought they went, in the worst possible place maybe, and they acted a certain way. I don't think it's reflective of who they are as people. But let me just read some comments. I feel like if you mention where you got the post from, nobody cares, especially like in an illustration. Yeah, just say it. Like, in fact, Sim, funnily enough, that's literally the number one case people bring up to talk about people owning poses, quote unquote, is the Obama case. As two black people, Sim, it's probably really funny for me to bring up Obama, but let me just please go on. The Obama case with the Obama Hope poster, where the person drew the face, put the red and blue splotches, and then made that poster that got sued. They actually didn't go to court. They actually didn't go to trial. They settled out of court because they were just hiding where they had gotten this pose from. They kept saying, I never drew it over your work. And that was why this went as bad as it did. They could have just shared some money and moved on with their life. That shit didn't have to go as far as it did. So you're right. Just mentioning where you got the post from makes this go away. From Gleamy Arts, oversimplified, but composition plus pose plus color palette plus camera angle make up a lot of a panel and illustration. You're totally right. I think if you're only using pose and camera angle, I believe from the language of the law that I've read, it's fine. Like, just don't over-egg the pudding, right? Don't milk it. Don't put yourself in a precarious position. From Suya 3838, I think there's a problem with platforms discouraging outside links, not making them clickable. Webtoon, killing your merch, Twitter. Killing your reach, Twitter. Yeah, no, you're totally right. I think that causes a lot of problems in terms of being able to do proper accreditation. So like, yeah, from Semi Enigma, I don't know, in Clip Studio, there's so many resources. Should I credit all of them? Legit asking. When I'm saying credit, I don't mean credit every single one of them. I just mean, like, you know, if you're gonna use like a house resource, just say you used, like, you know, there's a comment section. You can put it there in the longer bit of your comment, the bottom bit. Think from here, think from there. Or, as I said, you can always just be like, all my references and things I use can be found in this link. And you just have one link that goes to a big ass text file full of all of the shit that you reference. And you're good. I call that good. A paste bin, I'm happy. I saw Gleamy, that's funny. From Jenny Tunes, that's actually something I haven't considered. I do sometimes link to the CSP assets I use, but I don't often link that in my comic. That would actually be a fun breakdown to do. I think it's meaningful for artists to be able to see that other people use references, other people trace, other people heavily reference, and they do it with assets that they can also find, right? Because I 100% believe that the kid just looked it up. And if you want to know why I think that, it's because the guy the person who drew the Dishonor ring, who I'm really beginning to believe is the guy, because the Dishonor ring, the token, all the token aesthetics, only men like token like that, because they're mega weird. I'm not even saying that in a nice way. I mean that in like a man, are mega weird. But to the 20 to the 40% of my audience that are men, hey. But the reason I say that, I think the reason the person took that asset is because they redrew this scene. They redrew the scene like this, and it looks totally different, and they didn't use a reference for it. They're very much an action, they're very much like a comic book kid, like someone who read a lot of action comics growing up, so they know how to draw muscles really well. But I looked at that and I went, yeah, no, that's legit. This person actually has skill. So they probably heavily referenced that. And I asked them, did you trace it? They said, no, I didn't trace it. I heavily referenced it. And I was like, okay, cool, you heavily referenced? I believe you. I believe them. I don't think they did it with the decision to be disingenuous. They probably just needed something really quick. And they draw like that already, pretty close to that when it comes to scenes like that. So, that's how I'm feeling about it. From Geek Boy, sometimes I reverse engineer an artist's drawing to understand how the artist drew this piece by breaking it down and drawing over with it. Tracing is bad unless it's for learning. I don't agree with that, Geek Boy. I think tracing is a useful tool for creating stuff, not just from your own work. You should trace your own work. I encourage you to trace your own work. You make thousands of assets every day you draw a chapter of a comic. Please utilize it further down to reduce the amount of work. You don't always need to be redrawing new poses and new stuff. Although I respect the hustle, you need to not die. And tracing internal stuff is good. I think tracing your internal stuff is good. I think tracing 3D models is fine. And I think tracing the wireframe of any work is fine as long as you reinvent what it does. The number of people, like when the people were tweeting about don't trace copyrighted work, these people trace over fucking movie panels. They do. Everyone does it. Like I've seen everyone's work. You trace over memes and movie panels. I don't mean that in a mean way. It's just you do it. Like that's also copyrighted work. That scene, that frame of a movie is copyrighted. Fuck. When you trace over that copyrighted frame from a movie or you heavily referenced it, did you think about how copyright material that was? Did that even come to your mind? I don't know. Not many people know about free stock photo sites like Pexels, Pixabay, Unsplash, and only know about Pinterest for finding refs. That's a real big problem. And I think, the more you spread that amongst your friends, that's a useful thing. From Sim Liado, I think the biggest issue here is that people act in bad faith, combined with the artist claiming it as their own, plus not mentioning where the pose or thing came from. I actually looked at that. I didn't see the kid mention any time that it was, like, when I asked them for the reference, they gave it to me. They told me, yeah, I used the Mummy reference. So, I don't know. Like, the kid didn't seem to be claiming that at all. Like, they came after him first, and then they came after this kid first, and then he was trying to prove, like, look, I can change it. I'm not stealing. I didn't know it was going to be a big issue. So I don't think it played out like that. But maybe you saw something I didn't see. Maybe you saw something I didn't see. I'm going to leave that open there because I want to know if maybe you're going to give me something useful. From Sia, seriously considering making an additional text file with all my resources alongside the normal credits for my game now. It is always good. I think Scott Benson, when they made Night in the Woods, puts all the different assets and stuff that they used, talks about it all the time. And I think they put all the different assets and stuff that they used on Twitter, and they put it on Twitter, they put it in the game. I don't know. I think that's a good move, honestly, Sia, and I'd love to see all the things that you used when you were making your game. Pelvic thrust of power. And also from Sia again, tracing from my own model sheets, parts of which were traced from resources I bought, which may have been created from my other people's resources. Yeah, I know, it's stupid, isn't it? It's almost like there's a cascading line of like realizing that you're kind of full of shit when you say, oh, only internal sources, when really every internal source is an external source that you drew years ago and forgot what the external source was. So, meh. I just traced a meme of Morbius with my OC last night. Yeah. You know, in the movie, he says it's Morbin time. Love that shit. Love Jared Leto. This is a Jared Leto house now. I'm gonna become a method actor. I can only do this year because I've done the Jared Leto method acting meme to my partner for about a week and a half. And she said if I do it again, she's going to kick me out. So, from Sim, oh no, I mean the general occasion. Peeps act in bad faith because it happens so much. Yeah, okay, I see you. I see you, Sim. People do, it happens a lot. And people act in bad faith. But I think we should approach things in good faith until it is bad. All the time. And also just assume most of the time that if someone's making this mistake, they're a kid or they're embarrassed. And this isn't something they're doing maliciously. Like in every situation when people have done it, even in bad faith, it's never been malicious. It's just been, they did it in genuine good faith or because they were exhausted or overworked or something. And they acted the wrong way. And I just feel like there's a better way for us to handle this. I don't know. That's how I feel. And from Semi Enigma, final comment before I go back to talking about some other stuff. From what I've seen, people like to bully online artists with the whole tracing thing, especially if they seem young. I've seen that. I can see why people think that. I don't think it's that mean. I don't think it's that evil. I don't think people are terrible when are doing tracing out of bad faith, and I don't think people who are upset about it are doing it because they're evil. I think they're upset about it because they're upset about it, right? Like, on a genuine even-handed, this is me being a little bit even-handed here, right? They're just genuinely mad. They're just genuinely mad because they feel like it's happening too much. And, you know, they spend a lot of time being told not to trace and they work their asses off to make every single asset that they make. And then like someone's just trying to take the quote unquote easy road. Like I get why they get upset about it. I think the upset is a little bit disproportionate, but it's not coming from a bad place. And I feel like I should be angrier. I was angry at the beginning of the week. I was a lot angrier, but I've really kind of mellowed out over the week on this topic purely because I realized that it ain't that bad. But something really important I need to say, just really important I need to say, everyone traces. And if you think that people don't trace, I need you to start reading a featured comic for once in your life because then you'll understand that everyone traces. And I mean that in good faith. These people have so much work to do every week. Of course they're going to trace. Like, if you're a long-time on Ordinary reader, you know everyone traces. And that's just how it is. Like, I don't mean that in ill will, because I know she's tracing some stuff that she's allowed to use. But she traces, because we all do. We have to. Yeah, if you think that they didn't trace, it's because they didn't tell you. You know, I worked on a comic aerosol with my good friend Jay Espin. And Jay traced. And Jay draws some of the most dynamic scenes I've ever seen. He traces it, he re-envisions, he revitalizes, he changes. But he traced a lot of stuff. We traced movies, we traced movie panels, we traced video game screenshots, we traced lots of shit. But then we added our flair, we changed it, we moved the camera angle around a little bit, we manipulated like the background. There was a lot of things you can do. Oh yeah, Greg Land. We haven't mentioned Greg Land yet, Sean. Welcome, Sean, by the way. We haven't mentioned Greg Land because I didn't want to I didn't want to take the worst possible like lens on this because I not great. If somebody really feels like they have to trace, you should stop looking at it from they traced evil people and understand that they're under a lot of stress. You know, which is he traces from porn. I know he traces from porn. I know he traces from there. Please don't put that in my comment section. I so heavily know. Big budget VFX from Anzelatron. Big budget VFX reuses animation cycles and face poses for characters. Reusing assets is common and normal. Yes, it is. You know, but what I wanted to get at with this one is, you know, if somebody is having to trace, you need to understand that means they're under a lot of stress, which is one of the reasons why I called the Dishonor Ring kid earlier kind of dumb. Like, my dude, if you are under that much stress for a pre-release contest that you're tracing or heavily referencing as much as you are, and you're not maintaining consistency, and you're only doing a mere 80 to 100 panels. And I'm saying mere not because it's too few, I'm saying mere because Webtoon expects more than that per month. I feel like, buddy, you gotta take a chill moment. I feel like you gotta do a little bit of reflection in terms of like dealing with winning this contest, because I read a lot about the kid, and I'm not gonna spread the kid's information here. It's not the place for it. It's just you're on. I'm speaking to him right now. Though I'm like, you put yourself under a lot of stress, kid. You need to like take a step back and breathe, and like understand that this ain't worth it. This ain't worth it. Anyway. Oh, we're talking about someone explained to Fresh Salmon what happened on Twitch. I want to read this comment from Sim. This might be a me thing, but I try not to judge others that do. But I feel like for me, tracing a fair amount of time doesn't help your skill building or your outgrowth over time. You are totally right, Sim. It does not help jack shit about what you can do. It actually holds you back quite a lot. Tracing is a utility thing, not a thing for growth ever. Now that I've answered that question, I actually have time to explain to Salmon. So Salmon, some person did some heavily referenced traced work for 2 panels in their 80-panel comic on Webtoon for the call to action contest. There was an uproar, a minor uproar, not a major uproar, and we're talking about it. That's it. Maybe he just wanted 5K. Kaji, cut out. From Sammy Enigma, depends on how much you're trying to trace. If you're trying to trace over clothes, facial expressions, that takes forever. If you just want to pose, it's a good way to learn. Again, I think the pose is all right. I think if you just want to pose, it's a good way to learn. I think if you just want to pose, it's fine because you're doing a lot of other shit to that piece as well. And from Livid Java, people treat tracing like cheating in video games. If you're caught doing it once, it kills any integrity you have. I don't agree, but I see your point. I think one of the things I'm really realizing while talking to you guys is the biggest downfall of doing any of this isn't the legality or anything else. It's just that the community will lambast you. Because people have all their own personal opinions about it. I get it. I feel like we shouldn't spread lies about the legality of it. It's a little bit more complicated than we're putting it down to. A lot of it isn't settled, but it's always good practice to encourage artists to use Creative Commons things, to use open source material. So I do get it. Professionals, oh God, the amount of manga that trace is unbelievable. Like it's funny, I love it, but you know. Simon, they referenced a piece of art that's really well known in a Pinterest thing. So it's only well known to artists and no one else really. And not even all the artists. And also the piece of art was stolen from somebody's deviant art and it's scrubbed of accreditation. So, you know, think of that what you will. People don't know where they do half the time. You actually opened my eyes. I didn't think of it this way before. Look, I'm trying to be what the kids call even-handed. I'm trying to be what's called even-handed, right? I think there's an amount of backlash. Like, I don't know the name of the kid, the dishonoring kid. I think Sun Donut is their account name. I don't have their Twitter, but Sun Donut is a bit of a doofus for not thinking about what they were heavily referencing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you know, I also don't think he needed that backlash that much. I just think it was a bit much. From Sean McFarland, my man. Man, I had no idea it was a Webtoon thing. I thought it was 1 or 2 minor furors about tracing or swiping this damn week. People need to take it easy. They really goddamn need to. Like, they need to relax, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. You know, like, hands are hard to draw. I'm going to say this now. This is like me getting a little bit mad, actually. All of you fucking steal hands. None of you have original hands. And you're all going to be like, no, I do. I drew my hands after I referenced this art piece like 5 years ago, and I've been using my own hands that I No, you fucking didn't. The piece you referenced 5 years ago referenced like 10 other pieces before it. None of you have original hands. Go fuck yourselves. All of you. Fuck you. Except Sean. I like him. I like Sean. See, I told you, none of you have fucking original hands. None of you. And Kaji, if you're tracing your own physical hands, bro, you know who you're stealing copyright from? Your parents. Fuck off. So I've never stolen a hand ever, and you can't convince me otherwise. I use 3D model hands. 3D model hands were modeled by someone based on another model that they'd made. Take that. I can just be a dick about this forever. I love it. It's funny. What about them feet, though? Jesus Christ. Your parents own your hands, Chief. That's just the truth. Oh my God. Oh, you guys are gonna give me a hernia. Fuck. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Lord. Your parents' OC. Get owned, scrubs. Reminder, if you're having fun on today's episode of the Webcomics Hubcast, please make sure to make your way over to twitch.tv/Webcomics Hub and drop us a sub because we have activated subscriptions. Woo! Also, if you should actually follow the Twitch because occasionally I do secret streams. Like before the end of the last month, I did a secret stream with the gang. We talked about a topic, about the NFT topic, and it wasn't on YouTube. So yeah, that's where that is. Anyway, that was my mid-roll ad. Let's continue. So that's also what I want to talk about in terms of this tracing shit. I think it's dumb. I think it's goofy. I had a lot of fun though thinking about it. I had a lot of fun talking about it with people. I called an IP lawyer. I almost called one and paid them $100 an hour for 15 minutes of questions, but then I found one for free, so that was fun. So yeah, that's that week. That's that week. And also, actually, really good stuff to say to you. If you are on my Webcomics Hub Discord, I'm making a section. I'm making a section for references. If you're on the Webcomics Hub Discord server, I'm making a section for references and material like that. So if you're on there and you have reference material, please give it to a mod, give it to me. We'll be listing them with accreditation just so they're easier to find for people. I think like that's generally what I've been turning my server into, Discord server into, more of an artist space. So, be there, post your art, talk, be normal people, but also, provide resources, help each other grow. That's what I want it to be. We're currently still in the middle of like some reorganization of the space, but please, tell us. We'll put it down. We'll list it. We'll put down what kind of resource it is. We're actually going to put a little bit more work into making sure all the resources are put in a way that is really easy to use. So, yeah, thank you for doing that. Anyway, let's talk about the call to action Webtoon contest. Where's that goddamn animation? I have a Discord server. I just realized we're God's closed species. Oh, God damn it. Don't talk about that closed species shit in my area. Why are people typing Material Girl? Webtoon. Anyway, I'm assuming everyone saw the Webtoon call to action video. I watched it. It was dope. I loved it. I actually really liked the animation. It was a little bit rough, but it was really well done, and the animation team did a great job. And that's all the positive things I have to say about this contest. Thank you. We can all go to bed now. Good night. Jokes. I actually have a document. I read. So there are currently 300 total entries on the Webtoon call to action contest. I have read 110. Okay, just so we all have a number. If you don't have the video, actually, you know what? Since you don't have the video, let me put the video up. Since you all don't have the video, let me put the video up. This is the one time we're watching copyrighted material because Webtoon literally lets me do that. Because if you didn't know this, I'm a Webtoon influencer, but I hate using that power for anything. So we can actually watch this. Oh, 1 second. Let me turn the audio up. We're all going to watch this together as a group.
Webtoon is awarding up to $50,000 for crafting a fight like no one's ever seen before. Submissions due July 31st, 2022. Official rules at webtoon.com. The call to action is only on Webtoon.
Anyway, yeah, it's really goddamn good, right? Like I told you, like, you know, I am quite happy with it. I thought it was fucking cool. I thought it was goddamn cool. Also, thank you to Little Bobbler for subscribing on Twitch. But anyway, I thought it was really goddamn cool. I was quite happy with it. I thought it was a great ad. I thought it reached a lot of people. It made a lot of sense. It said a lot of stuff like that. Also, that's not an entry. That's just the animation to advertise the call to action. That's it. That's all it is. So, you know, quite happy with it. But bing, bing, ba-bing, right? Like, very good. So, yeah, I read 110 of the 330 some entries that are currently up. I didn't like almost any of them because it's a complicated thing. Action is a complicated thing. And if you guys want to talk a little bit more about action, probably it'll be a little bit late for the contest, I'll be honest with you. But me and my buddy Bobbler, if you want an asset right now, me and my buddy Bobbler did a little workshop with Webtoon about making action, about magic and action in Webtoons. And you can see that video on the community section of our YouTube channel. It'll be, just scroll down, it'll be somewhere. I made a post about it. But specifically about the action work I read, it's just, I read 110 of 330. I read about a third of it, and it was so many. All right, let's have a conversation, guys. It's me and you right now. You know, I need to talk to you. You know, friend to friend, right? You know, I'm your buddy. I'm your pal. Stop with the fucking sideways panels. Stop it. This is no longer a joke. This is a threat to your safety and your humanity. If I see another goddamn sideways panel in your comic, I will find where you live. And I will. I couldn't even get to the end. I was laughing too much. If I see another goddamn sideways panel in your comics, I will find you and I will lick your face. And not in the hot way. No, you don't have to tilt the goddamn phone. You making me tilt my phone? I'm sorry. I'm a dying millennial. Don't make me tilt my phone. It's all that keeps me alive. And I've just found a comfortable position in bed. How dare you? You Orochimaru ass motherfucker. Look, I don't think everyone who does sideways panels is evil, right? Like, I need to make this clear. It's a technique, right? Like everything in comics, it's a fucking technique, right? It's a technique. You're using it, and maybe it works for you. But I'll be real with you, I've just never been able to find them entertaining because I think that there are ways that you can get around them. I think that you don't need to do sideways panels. That's the problem. That's the main problem I have. The thing is, when I was working with Bobbler on our video, we talked a lot about sideways panels, and we had a really good example. Bobbler, I think my friend Bobbler is watching the live stream right now. Please DM me that clip. Also, thank you to Gianni V for subscribing. But please DM me that image we used as like a good example of not needing a sideways panel. But this is the thing. This is the thing I'm talking to you guys about sideways panels, guys, right? Sideways panels kill immersion. They kill it absolutely. Diagonals are good because those are just Dutch angles. But you can also do a panel vertically. You can do most sideways panels could be vertically composed, and you would lose nothing. You would lose so little. I've watched many program bug videos to have made a mistake with panels. You got to scroll to the side. Let's make you flip your phone around like a pizza. Why are you guys bullying me? I'm trying to read the text sideways. I'm too lazy to turn my phone. God, when they do the text sideways too, guys, don't do that. Please, I'm begging you. Oh, please, I'm begging you. There's like 1,000,001 ways to do a sideways panel in a vertical format. Please don't do a sideways panel. I'm not even mad at you anymore. I'm just sad. Please don't do a sideways panel. Oh, from Sean McFarland. If you must flip it sideways for some goddamn reason, please be so careful with how you use text. I was reading a comic that almost gave me an aneurysm with its psycho justification. Sideways panels equals PC readers in shambles. Like, I just, look, all right, there was this comic. One of the comics was really had me. It was Fake Out. Yeah, it was Fake Out. So I actually have a small list of all the things that crossed the threshold of me giving a shit. And like, it was basically me going, I actually kind of care about this, right? And it was one of them was Fake Out. I think, no, it wasn't Fake Out. It wasn't Fake Out. It was, let me look at my list. I wrote a lot of things here. It was, there it is. It was Journey of Decay, right? It was Journey of Decay and Modified. Modified is like a weird Power Rangers thing. I was reading them and I was really getting into it. I was actually like, they had me. They almost had me there for a hot second. They almost had me fucking face first in that shit, right? And then a Sideways panel came up, and I was taken away. I'm a Power Rangers nerd. You guys already had me with your pseudo Power Rangers BS, and then you made me give up because you decided to destroy all the immersion I may have even had. And then, like, after that, I reviewed something like, and I need to make it clear, right? I get into a lot of stuff that I don't really like. I like a lot of shit that isn't good, right? So often what happens to me is I get into a comic, but then I read it like 2 days later and I realize I don't actually like it. So they not only lost me in the moment, I ended up rereading it later and went, this wasn't for me, which is a little bit sad because they could have just kept me. And the number of Sideways panels was very upsetting. But another thing that got me was a lot of people were doing comics that were just prequels, one-offs, tales in their bigger stories that they were already doing. Like almost everyone already had a comic that they were already doing full and been doing for a while, and then like this was just like a single prequel. This was just a single thing going on in there, and that was a little bit. I don't know. That was just a little bit of a letdown. Like all the ones I liked. Like one of the best ones from the entirety of the Call to Action contest is called High Kings by Kelly Fox. Folks. I don't know how to say her name, but Kelly was their name. But Kelly wrote High Kings. High Kings is good as shit. High Kings is great. Like, honestly, you want to read something? It's High Kings. Like, there's some interesting paneling, some clear experimentation, some clear effort to make something interesting. Hey, so, High Kings, really good stuff. But then like but even High Kings is like a prequel to a story that the author wanted to tell. And they just kind of kept telling it somewhere else. I don't know, it wasn't, I also like it just wasn't filling with me. I don't know. Sim, what do you have to say? Let me see. Sim, I think the fact that it had to be one episode combined with the fact that it had to have lore, and that no one is trying to get to top place, that everyone just tried to pick something they already had. Honestly, you're right. You're right. You smoking something good there, and you're right. You're right. Enough people do not want first place. And as such, enough people are doing the least they can do to win, it makes sense. As we said, the fourth place is just so good. Fourth place is $5,000 and you get to go home. Of course. It's only one episode. It's not particularly great. The thing is, the problem I have with the one episode thing is I agree with a lot of you. One episode, what can you do with that? But then I think back to the last contest, the short story contest. And I remember, God, what was that webtoon? There was a webtoon that won third place for Brain, for like the Brain section of it. I don't think I've read your comic. I don't know. Maybe I did. I don't know what comic you put out. Yeah, I see the appeal. $5,000 is a lot of money. There's a comic that won the third place for Brain in the last short story contest. and it had this really cool premise where you get pulled out of the paper, where the characters got pulled out of the panel and they could like read ahead, and that was so good. And they did that in one episode. In one episode, they got me. They had me wholeheartedly. They did everything. They had action. They had everything in one episode. God, I wish I could remember the name. I'm actually quite upset about it because it was so goddamn good. It was so good. Where's the short story tag? Yeah, The End of the World. The End of the World. It was something like that. It was something like How to Escape the End of the World or something. Yeah, How to Escape the End of the World. Oh, Jenny, you're an angel. You're an angel, Jenny. How to Escape the End of the World is now an originals comic, by the way, which is, of course it is. It's amazing. Atena Hena Hena did an incredible job. Atena Hena Hena, that's a name and a half. Did an incredible job. How to Escape the End of the World, mwah, masterpiece. The latter one was really good too. Yeah, Gleamy, the latter one was really good too. But it's just like but my thing with How to Escape is like it does the action that Webtoon asked for in one episode, along with a bunch of other stuff. And like, I never felt like it was poorly paced. I never felt like I had a problem with it. I never felt like it just didn't feel it didn't feel half-hearted, which is the problem. But I haven't read everyone's work. I don't think I read your work, I'll be honest with you. Maybe I mentioned it. Tell me if I did. Maybe I read it. I wrote a lot of thoughts on a lot of people's work that I read, although not everything, so it depends. And yeah, the stress isn't worth it. I have a list of like the ones that really impacted me. I wanted to get to that, but I think I want to bring up one other thing. This one asked specifically for a brawl, not just action. True, it did ask for a brawl, not just action. And there is a brawl in the first episode of How to Escape the End of the World. They punch each other. It's a minor brawl. It's a minor kerfuffle, a scuffle, if you will. A hullabaloo, if you will allow me to say so. Atena Hena Hena? Well, like, tell them that I think that they're incredible. Oh, shit, what's funny? You're on my list. You're on my list. You did a good job. No, you did a good job. No joke. You did a good job. I really liked yours, actually. I liked it. I liked meeting Vivienne. I liked it was fun. It was fun. There were some things I wasn't. The swear jar word. What's the swear jar command anymore? It's not on YouTube. The swear jar command is only on Twitch. Let me see what it is. It's this. I'll put it on YouTube too tonight, so the next time it's there. I think we're at like £4 now to chat to a creator. If you want me to give it to a specific creator that isn't you, tell me. Let's say June 31st. So all the way out through June, you can just tell me creators you think would deserve this money. Like DM me in on Discord or on Twitch or on Twitter, and I'll read it and I'll pick a random person from that lot. We're up $4. I wanted to get a little bit bigger, so why not? But no, I really liked reading your work. I think one of the problems I had with your work was just because I actually cared about the characters. I wish you didn't do that sideways panel, like reach through the wall grab, because I looked at it and was like, that was a good grab. And if it was in like a page comic, I meant June 30th, I'm sorry. If it was in a page comic, beautiful, right? And if you were making like a book of it or a little thing, I'm so down to see you put that in a page, like for real. But like when I looked at it, I was like, that was the only thing that pulled me out, because quite frankly, I was having fun. And somehow you brought me back, and I kept having more fun. So you did a good job, haha, funny name. The name of the comic is Good Job. You did a good job. Ha ha ha. Yes, guys, I am a comedy jokester. I'm a chuckle master. I don't actually have any more jokes. Documenting with white screenshots in vertical format. I feel like you should also be looking a little bit more at like top-down shots, or shots that like scroll downwards. Here's a really good example, actually. Let me show you a really good example from my buddy Little Boobler. There's also a great example. If you've ever read the comic, something of the Heavenly King. What was it again? Heavenly, Chronicles of the Heavenly Demon. Yeah, if you ever read the comic Chronicles of the Heavenly Demon, on chapter 4, Chronicles of the Heavenly Demon, on chapter 43, 44, there's also a really good transition that everyone should steal from. And I'll show that you guys that in a second. But let's look at this one from my buddy, Little Boobler. So my buddy he's doing like a shot where he's got someone shooting magic down a line, and I think they're dodging something. I just think that longer shot, like, it makes the anticipation of what's coming look better. But also this was the one I really wanted to show you. Like, utilize your Dutch angles to fit a little bit more in, you know? I think more people just need to do that because it does so much for your work. It does so much for your work. I feel like people underestimate how valuable that is. Anyway, I didn't mean for this to become a comic review. I just want to show you guys one last thing from Scanlation site. Forgive me, but it's where it is. So this is Chronicles of the Heavenly Demon. It's on Tapas officially, but I need to show you something really quickly in this. So you guys are like, how can I do a really good transition without sideways panels, right? I'm going to show you a really good transition without sideways panels. Let's goddamn go. Look at that stuff. So he drops the cup, right? Because they're transitioning to leaving. So then he makes the fake light. The units are walking. They go out. Swords out. Guns out. Like, that's a good transition, right? You can do that. You can do that. All of you are capable of doing that. I think that that's a hot, smoking, ooh, delicious, like a delicious brisket transition, right? And I feel like we're all missing out when we don't give ourselves that opportunity to think like that. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, that's enough about the fucking sideways panels. The third thing that I noticed that did not sit right with me with the contest stuff is, like Sim pointed out something really important. You got to do lore and action and the brawl, and it's all got to be in there. It's a lot of work. But also, people were starting their brawls really early so they could draw. I don't know, because obviously maybe they're hoping to draw less, or because they didn't have a lot of lore. Oh, damn, did I swear again? Okay, where am I at? 420? Hey, 420! I need to use that animatic for the money thing soon. I'll get to that this weekend. By next week, it'll be up. But 420, kids. But what was I saying? Yes. One of the things that is people were starting their action a little bit too soon. A little bit too soon. Leave me alone, Momo Gigi. A little bit too soon. So, like, I didn't have enough time to get into the characters. Some people didn't even give me character time. I didn't know who the people were fighting. They were just fighting. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to name any one specific comics because I don't think that's fair. But I wasn't having fun a lot of the time because I would show up and there was just a fight. And they were like, look, a fight. Don't you like fights, buddy? Like, come on, guys. Like, give me a little bit more than that. I feel like I deserve a little bit more than sudden fight. But that's how I think about it. You know, I'll pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts, guys? You think the fights happen too early? I don't know if you've been reading them. Shut up, Sean. Isn't the fight the point? The fight is the point, Semi. But like, there's kind of a build up to combat that happens in every single thing you're making. Like, think of it like this. When you see it, like, right, funnily enough, if you see a video on the internet of somebody getting hit by a car or like dodging an accident or whatever the hell you look at that's in those like fail compilations, do you really feel bad for them? Do you ever really feel bad for them? Like, there's this bit where you're like, I hope they're okay, but like, there's no emotional investment because you don't know them and they don't look real, right? When you're writing a story, you've got to make people get through that barrier in their brains to caring about the people fighting. And I feel like not enough people did that. So they just went into the fight. And it just didn't feel good. I wasn't having fun on that. And it just made it kind of hard. Made it kind of hard to care about who was fighting. From Sean McFarland, an excellent site consisting of humanity's finest duking it out, usually at Waffle House. Let me see. I think from Koemi Usagi, I think spending more time on your entry is beneficial here, especially when there's still plenty of time before submissions close. Indeed. Then Koemi. From Momo Gigi, someone should open their action entry with the guy walking into the room with the pizza. From Jenny Tunes, honestly, I feel because of the state of Webtoons, too many people aren't used to making one-shots or short pieces, so not many are used to building lore with less. That's a very true point, Jenny. And I think it's really weird to me that people don't think before they post, people don't put their brains into processing, like, oh, wait, sorry. What am I reading? Who mentioned Donald Glover? What's going on? Did I miss Donald Glover? I'm actually mildly upset because if I don't understand what's going on and I'm mildly confused. Anyway, yeah, but whatever. I'll go back to what I was saying. Jenny's made a really good point. People don't really think about how to write shorter stories. And that used to be a thing. Remember, Jenny, back in the day, people were like, I don't know how to write a short story. I only know how to write long stories. Lol, Lamau. Donald, oh, you mean the pizza meme. From Community. Okay. That did not register. I don't remember who, but I remember someone saying a fight should be a character arc in itself. Yes, everyone says that. Me and my friend Bobbler said that in our workshop that we did for Webtoon Canvas, and we're going to be saying that again in the workshop that we do in a few weeks. So, look forward to that, although it'll probably be after the contest, but whatever. It's important to remember that before you even start the fight, I need to have investment reasons to care about your character. And people didn't give it enough time. So if you haven't put out your contest entry yet, please give it some time. Think about it a little bit. Stress read it. Stress test it. Give it the mental space that you need to discuss your point, to like make the audience care about your character before the fight starts. Let them get invested in your story, please. Because I want you to do well, because I love you. And I hope that you succeed in every endeavor you do. From Momo Gigi, but they just told me the characters have to be hot. Shut up. I don't love you. That's for sure. God. What is this? I come to my live stream on twitch.tv/Webcomics Hub, the only place you can subscribe to the channel, and I'm getting made fun of by my own audience. How dare they? Short stories are hard and people tend to overestimate them. Growing up, short stories always seemed to be easier for me. In fact, I learned how to write from short stories. I learned how to write short stories from Stephen King, the granddaddy of short stories, the man who wrote them all. Really? Stephen King used to like I learned a lot of how to start writing, quote unquote, from Stephen King, and because of that I started learning with short stories. So my brain, short stories are just typical. They're normal. They're what you should write. Long stories are something you earn. You earn long stories. You don't just walk into them. You got to earn them, because if you can't do a short story right, God knows you don't know what the fuck you're doing with a long story. I just swore again. 440. Crap. Let's see. I just make them hot. Like, why isn't that enough for people, JK? Do you think if they gave everyone the short story length, it would have been better? No. But also, yes. I have a complicated feeling about it, right? Like, one hand, no. I don't trust you people with short story lengths anymore. Last time, you wasted my time. Some of you wrote some crap. But also, some of you wrote some really amazing stuff. Like, how to escape the end of the world has been lodged in my brain like a virus. That isn't easy. Like, for anyone who knows me and knows how much content I consume on like a daily basis, if I remember you for longer than a week and I don't talk to you every day, you're really interesting. So like, it's a matter for me of like, yes and no. I kind of trust. I want to see what people make, but I don't trust some of you mother gunners. Like, I don't trust some of you. From Rosebird, yes, hot. Then what if after the fight scene they kissed? Plot 12 out of 10. I got you. Honestly, just make them kiss. Make them kiss, and when they kiss, have them put $1 in the patreon.com/webcomics hub fund. Let's see. From Sean McFarland, King is amazing at tight, clever short stories. And while I love his door stoppers, he often fumbles the ending once he gets there. You are right. They are terrible endings. Awful endings. From Sim, yeah, I feel like most comic artists are used to long form work. I'd love to work on more short stories, but that's, oh, sorry, you just scrolled past, but that's only because I have too many stories. Oh, that's a Jenny Tunes kind of mood right there. From Koemi Usagi, telling a good story, good characters and action, only 60 panels is really hard to pull off. I think that's why it's so important to challenge yourself. You're right, it's incredibly hard. And I don't think they kept you to 60 panels. Let me actually just check real quick to make sure I didn't miss something. I swear it's not 60 panel requirement. Maybe I'm dumb and I didn't notice, and I'm sorry if I didn't. Oh no, you're right. It's exactly 60. My bad. I just missed it. I'm an idiot. My bad. Oh wait. No, it must be at least 60. It says at least 60, at least 60, at least 60. So you can go over 60 if it fits in the file size. I think you can max fit 120 in the file size if you really drop the quality down. Damn it, the kiss is what I was missing. Oh my God. Let the kiss be the fight scene. It's a learning curve to make something so good. Yeah, you're right. You know, it's a learning curve. It's hard. Yeah, you can go above 60 panels. It's a 20 megabyte requirement. Yeah, there was a comic I was reading with mechs and it looked blurry and I was like, why does this look blurry? And then it dawned on me. They dropped their quality to fit more files. Oh my God. Oh, honey, it's not worth it. It was not crisp. So how to start a story about a boy working in a haunted bookstore who fights a monster. Wait, what are you saying, Sammy? What the hell? I can't read that. From Gleamy, someone could post a whole B movie script as long as it's 20 megabits PNG. Don't give me ideas. I might do it now. I might do it. Yeah, people are cutting down from 200 panels in thumbs, and it's wild. It's wild to fit those requirements. It's insane. God, it's just been a whole thing. Anyway, I just want to get to this bit. I want us to talk a little bit about entries I've read. Because I think it's fun. I think it's fun. I want to talk about them. We already know I read Good Boy. Good Job. Sorry, did I say Good Boy? I'm sorry. Y'all already know I read Good Job. You know, it was a good read. You know, thank you, Eno. I appreciate you being here. Bless your soul. The creator of Cheap Jack Gentleman told me about Tiny PNG, which helps compress files without dropping too much quality. Yeah, that actually is a really useful tool. There's lots of different ways to compress your files. The creator of Cheap Jack Gentleman, the comic Cheap Jack Gentleman is something I read, so that explains some things. But yeah, I know I said Good Boy. Good Job is on my list, and I'm just going through my list again. I said High Kings earlier. I'm just getting them up. I'm getting them up on the screen because I want to make sure we have all of them so I can just show you a bit of them. I'm going to show you guys, first I'm going to start with the ones that really impacted me. Like, I saw them and my brain did a whole, like, 180, right? I saw them and I had it looked interesting. It looked good. And then I'm going to hit you with the ones that, you know, they came to mind, but they didn't do much. They didn't stick with me much. And I'm not going to review them per se. I'm just going to, like, just say, this is what I thought. I hope if you guys have read it, you can tell me what you thought. And we can go beyond that. I'm not going to go into an in-depth. And then I saw the paneling, and it made me feel a certain emotional reaction. I'm not doing that shit. And there's one that I really want to talk about because it confused me. It confused me. High Kings was phenomenal. I'm glad that you agree. High Kings was hot, powerful, emotional even. So let's start with the ones that I thought were really, really good. Where are my really good lists ones? Okay, cool. So I really liked, I'm just gonna move my Google Doc file here because it has all my notes. The hamster fight one really stuck with me. I don't think I've seen that one yet. There's some, I said, I've only read a third of the entries, so there's some I just haven't seen. And I picked them at random. So it wasn't like I went with most popular. I picked at random and then went from there. I really like Good Job. This is a good job. I really liked it. I said all the things I thought about this one already, you know, my problems and everything. But I had fun. I loved High Kings. God damn it. You know, High Kings literally does a transition where you don't need to do, because look, you don't need a sideways panel. Tell him, Kelly, you know what you're up to. You're a powerful, independent woman who don't need no man. You're kicking butt. Go on, Kelly. Go on, love. No, great comic. Had so much fun reading this. Funnily enough, the other one I had fun with is probably a little bit out there for people who know me. I really liked Fake Out. It only has one episode. They have things that are character profiles. I really liked Fake Out. It was a little bit confusing. It was a little bit, the art and stuff was stuff I wasn't into, but I don't know. I read it and I had fun. I had a lot of fun. Like, Fake Out really made me understand why, I cared about who was getting hit. I cared about what was going on. I cared about the action. I cared about the violence. I cared about the characters. No, like, read Fake Out. But the thing is, Fake Out's one of those comics that already has like a full comic of its own. So this was just like, I think it was just a spin-off or a prequel or something. And that kind of dulls my excitement a little bit. Pinterest does suck. Stop using Pinterest. Please use Pexels. Please just go to DeviantArt and get your references from there instead of letting Pinterest take you there. And just go to ArtStation. Is it ArtStation? Yeah, I think it's ArtStation. I'm begging you. You know, the comic is doing a lot with what it's got to make a lot of panels. And I had fun with this. You want to know the one that really impacted me the most? Kaiju Heart. From a person whose name I think means the mega vagina. But I've also been told it does not mean that by all my French friends who specifically told me, no, it just means like bush. It just means the very big bush. See, I still think that's a euphemism, but whatever. Because I read that. The moment I read it, I was like, that looks like the mega bush. That looks like the mega tuft, the mega foliage. Looks like a bit of a, you know, something wrong is going on there. But I've been told I should not read into it. Oh, another bad word, 460. So, you know, this one is so goddamn cool. Look at it. It's got so much style. Look at it. Oh, look at the little bubbles. Look at the little bubbles. Look at the typesetting. Look at the kerning. Like, when people say, why do I care about typesetting so much? Look at how much it adds. Look at how cute they are. Look at the come on. I don't even know what it's about. Like, I tried to read it. All I kept doing was just looking at it and going, oh. I have no idea what this is about. I won't even lie to you. I tried to read it, and the dialogue is cute and everything. But look at the little bubbles. Look at the widow bubbles. Come the fuck on. I know that's 480. Leave me alone. Like, look at the little bubbles. Look at the art. Look at the big neck. Looks like Jane Chomp. Come on. What a talented giant shrub, indeed. Like, La Megatouf. Incredible. This was like reading a bande dessinée back when I was a kid. You know, I used to read a lot of Tintin and other bande dessinées like that. And God, it was so fun. And this just brought me back. This brought me back to Tintin, Asterix, just all at once, just all hit me. I had a whole moment. I have no idea what this is about. I need to reiterate. The dialogue looks good. I'm reading it now for the first time. It's good dialogue. It's good dialogue. No idea what's going on. This should win. I know all of you worked really hard on your comics, and I respect that. This should win. I don't care if you're my friend. This is better than anything you've made. Just gonna say it. I love you all, and I think you're all incredible, but I'm sorry. I'm winner. I couldn't give a crap. The only problem, actually, I should say there's a minor problem. I just know there's a minor problem. This has really, really bad pacing. Like if you've noticed, there's almost no space between the panels. There's not enough white space to paste. There's not enough spacing to like give things time to sink in, which is one of the reasons that made it a little bit difficult to read. And as someone with dyslexia, it's a little bit harder. I'm also, fans of the show will know, I'm colorblind. So I actually spent a lot of time on the PC color picking this comic just to see how the colors work together. Having a lot of fun with that. And doing like mixes and stuff. And if you're wondering, how does color picking help me? I know what every hex code means. Don't ask me why. Leave me alone. I suffered enough alone. I know what every hex code is. I can at least guess every color's hex code based on its hex code. Every color based, I can guess like what a color should be based on its hex code. So like, I have protanopia. I have red-green color blindness. I'm red blind and green weak. I mean, I think I'm just both blind, really, at this point. But that's how I've been thinking about it. So I'm red-green colorblind. So all of my color theory, I have a lot of color theory knowledge that I've had to learn by hand, very, very like rigidly. So yeah. But yeah, I think it's file size crunch for the spacing issues, Sean. I agree. But like this, come the fuck, look at the widow butt. Come on. This should win, guys. This should win. This should just win immediately. I love it. If you're wondering how I use my computer and stuff, I'm very, very sensitive to luminance. So I think of colors in two ways. In my brain, I think of them with hex codes and HSL, so hue, saturation, light. Those two things like give me a lot of color information. I can also sort of use YCMB, I think that's what it's called, the one that televisions use to like understand roughly what a color should look like, but I only use that when I'm doing color correction, which I don't do very often. But yeah, that's how I typically think about colors, and that's how I typically see colors. So I'm using a lot of luminance information to tell that while these two colors are red and green, one of these is red and one of these is green. And you don't memorize all of it, you learn a system. You learn a system of understanding how much red, green, and blue, and like blue, for example, a color has, or and it also the reason why I'm really bad at CMYK, because I've never actually thought to use it. Is there a kiss scene here? If there's a kiss scene in this comic, I got to like this point and I just went, this already wins, I don't even give a shit. But no, like, God, it's so good. The action is really good. The comic is really good. I think it genuinely crunched because of space issues. All I'm saying is, kids, nothing an editor can't fix. No, forget an editor. I don't even have faith in Webtoon editors. Nothing a creator alone can't fix. This creator probably already figured this out. And I think Sean is 100% on the money about crunch. The space crunch is just to save data, just to save data. But yeah, oh my God, look at this. Yeah, this is my favorite panel. Get ready for it. They're inside the belly of the creature and they do it with the teeth. And it's not a sideways panel because you can scroll through it. Look at it. Oh, look at it. It's so cool, right? Guys, go read this. Go read this. Just please. It's so goddamn cool. It's so goddamn cool. Like I'm sorry. La mega tooth, la mega tooth, la mega love. Like holy crap. I absolutely love it. Nommed. He got nommed. This is called Kaiju Heart. One word. Like, oh my God, fuck. This is just. J'aime tellement cette BD. Oh, merci, la Megatooth. Merci. It's so good. It's so good. J'aime tellement cette BD. It's so good. God, it's just, it reeks bande dessinée feel, man. It reeks bande dessinée feel. I love it. This is the one thing in the entire contest that I loved the most. I like all of your work, by the way. I love your work, but I'm sorry, but you can't beat this. It's not your fault. It's not you. It's me. Forgive me. Like, holy shit. Oh, it's so good. It's not you, it's me. What else is there for me? Yeah, okay. So now I'm taking you through all the stuff that really impacted me. It was all really good. It was all really fun. I don't think this is better than your work. I think it's different from your work in a way that just triggers a lot of mental stuff for me. And I just want to make that clear. I'm getting a phone call, and I just need to say, okay, cool. So now that we've done this bit, brain chemicals go burr. Let's talk about the stuff that kind of got me, and I was interested, but not really enthused by. I read Journey of Decay. I thought it was interesting. I thought it had like a good feel. I thought it was just different. And I got into it a little bit, but this was the comic that really made me realize that like a lot of people were writing action, and I didn't really care about anyone. I didn't really know what was going on, and I wasn't interested. But there's a lot of cool premise stuff in here. We're not going to go over the whole thing, but you should look at Journey Journey of Decay. I read The Liminal Height. It has a lot of like. It looked good. It looked interesting. It had like a nice visual flair. I don't like narration. I know it's a useful tool. I personally don't like it. Maybe it works for you. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. But I logo cute. I read it a little bit. It was all right. It's very pretty. It's very pretty. They're very good at using luminance and to convey a lot of emotion. I loved it. I love that part of it, really. Modified. Power Rangers ripoff. I respect that. I, too, would rip off Power Rangers. Only the greats would. Red Modified. Not gonna lie, this almost had me. They almost got me with hot purple-haired woman. Like, almost. I was weak there for a moment. I was weak. It was but a moment. I lacked the fortitude internally, but I got it back, and I read the rest of the comic, and I had fun. It wasn't my favorite. It was pretty good though. I loved the different types of characters. I loved the typesetting. It's so solid. It's not like amazing typesetting. Like, it's just good. Like, when you see typesetting, you're just like, that's solid work, right? There wasn't anything like out there with it. It was just all around solid work. Moment of weakness for purple-haired mommy. It's just what it is. But overall, just pretty solid work. I would recommend you read it. I don't understand all of the plot stuff. They didn't clarify a lot of things for me, so I wasn't always clear on who could do what and why. It was a bit off. What else is there? Warbread. I actually kind of liked this one, and then I didn't, and I don't know why. I have no particular reason for not liking this one. Like I loved, if you know me, you know I love three things. I love limited color palettes. I love primary colors. And I like booba, like everyone else does. And I saw this and I was like, this is pretty cool. I'm interested, like all the greats. I have refined taste, and I read it, and I had fun. It was all right. It had all the things I liked, but I don't know. It didn't hold me, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what happened that made me think this way, but I think they did a solid job, just on a emotional, personal level. It just didn't do all those things for me. But I still love this limited color palette. I think they did a wonderful job. I think they made some beautiful scenes. I think they're working really well. I think Warbread is good. I feel like it just didn't spark with me personally, and that's a personal thing, right? It's a very personal thing. So gonna add boob. If they kiss after the fight scene, you've made a perfect comic. That's the rule, guys. Make them kiss after the fight scene. And then, okay, this is I've taken you through all the ones that were from like middling to good for me, right? That was where they were. Middling to pretty goddamn good, right? Middling to pretty goddamn good. I'm going to show you something that I am not really enjoying. I was very confused by this one. I've read I don't know how to say it, Genderuo, Genderuo. I think the emphasis may be a little bit here, Genderuo, maybe something like that. I don't know. Genderuo. But I read. You can see I'm literally in the middle of this chapter. I was reading on my desktop, then I moved to my phone. The text, the typesetting, the not typesetting, the dialogue, the story makes no sense to me. I tried. I really tried. I really, really, really tried. I was very confused. Just there's nothing there for me in terms of story. Oh. My partner says hi, everyone. But there was not a lot there for me in Genderuo. I tried to enjoy all the different things. I don't know. The art's good. Like, look, I think if this person was applying as my assistant, I 100% take them. If they're applying as my sole artist, I'd also probably 100% take them. They've got a good understanding of anatomy, a great understanding of effects, a great understanding of how to use a good background. They know how to draw incredible things. They have an amazing understanding of maintenance of scale, which is something that we don't talk about enough. They're just really goddamn good. Like, look at this. Look at this. Right? Like, holy hell. But other than that, it was all kind of lost on me. I'm sorry. Those are my like top. Those are the ones I found the most interesting to talk about. I'm just gonna say a little bit. Just like I read the most popular comic. I didn't like the most popular comic. If you want to know what that is, you can sort by popularity and solve that on your own. But I wasn't really into the most popular comic. So I don't know. And right now, the next comic I'm probably going to read is one that was uploaded a few minutes ago called Red Stasis. I'd read it on stream, but I'm not a stream reader. Not a stream reader, not yet, at least. One day, no. But there's a lot of cool entries. Out of 110, I ended up with about 10 or so that impacted me in a meaningful way. I'm going to read the remaining 200 and some. I'm going to try and read every entry before the end of the contest, because that's just what I do. You know, if you know me, you knew that when the last contest happened, I read every entry for the first 2 days. I gave everything at least a cursory look. So I'm gonna try to get through every entry. But I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about how many of the entries are going to be just aiming for 4th place, and that's making me a little bit sad. I'm also a little bit worried about how many entries are going to be already established comics. That also makes me a little bit sad. Don't get me wrong. Get your paper, girl. You know, get that money. Do your thing. I probably will read both of yours now. But you know, I'm looking forward to what everyone's gonna make. I wish I could see more original stuff, but I totally get why there's not more original stuff. And I respect that people aren't doing that. And also, I've still had fun reading all the different things people made, and that's kind of where I'm at. That's this week in a nutshell. That's this whole week. We've done it, guys. We've got through all the stuff I want to talk about this week. Contest week. We had a tracing allegation, and then we talked about some contest entries, and we talked about my favorite artist, Le Megatouf. Love him. Yeah, that's kind of me. That's kind of me today. I don't know. What else do you guys have anything you want to tell me? Any comments you want to make? Anything you want me to think about that I didn't think about, that I didn't answer? Let's talk about that real quick if we have a minute or two. If I don't get any, I'll move on. Mega Bush for president. Thanks, Sammy. Mega Bush for president. Shit. Thanks, Jenny, for calling me wholesome. My favorite type of cheese? Gruyere. Swiss Gruyere. Favorite type of cheese. Eno says, I'm very fun to listen to. Thank you, Eno. I appreciate that. You're very smart. You have you make good conversation. I hope to see you more, and I hope we have more conversations like this. Swiss Gruyere is my favorite cheese. I think that, and then Parmigiano Reggiano, and then Pecorino Romano. What's your opinion on people who already had an original work previously submitting a new entry for the contest? I don't care. Like, it gives them a bit of an edge. But like, look, I'm gonna say something to you secretly that no one else has told you. A lot of originals work isn't that good. And I don't mean that in like a mean way. A lot of originals work is made by people who are growing in their artwork. And I personally think that as creators, as new creators, especially like you guys, your new blood is going to be more interesting than anything that they could make. Like, often it will be. You know, they're not allowed to, but if they did, often you will make newer, more interesting things. And because you guys are just more interesting people. You're new. Let's see. What do I think of Gouda? Honestly, I've never had a Gouda. No, that's a lie. I had a smoked Gouda that was torched on a sandwich. It's an all right cheese. Mediocre. You know, I've had better cheeses. I'm a blue cheese fan. Let me just say that right now. Blue cheese dip is for wings. If you use ranch, you're a child. Established my dominance. I don't take questions on that one. Too many brain worms for my characters to not use them. I respect that. I feel bad for whoever listens to this stream back on their own later. They're like, oh, all this comic conversation. Why are we talking about cheese at the end? Like, why are we talking about cheese? Oh my God. Let me have my ranch. Get out. Pepper Jack. All right. I'll Pepper Jack. Monterey Jack. Low moisture Mott's. Hey, I'm a New Yorker. What the fuck was that? I'm sorry. I take that back. Holy shit. I need to end this goddamn stream. I need to stop. Finally, a cheese podcast I've been looking for. They're never going to say that. They're never going to feel that emotional way. Not going to lie, when I was in America, I missed cheese and bacon, back bacon so much. Back bacon is gross. I'm also good. I want to establish this one as well. Back bacon, vile, streaky bacon, mwah, beautiful. The end. I'm not taking any questions. I've established where we stand as a society. I'm not here to argue with the lessers. Why did I say that? I'd really like to listen to a cheese podcast. You know what? If we get 50 patrons, if we get 50 patrons and subscribers, I will do a cheese subscriber only, patron only podcast where I will rank every single cheese in the world that exists. I will get an image of every single one. I will buy as many of them as I can, and I will sit on stream and we will eat them and talk about them. And I'm not talking eat them with a slice of crackers. I'm talking full on cheese. Just bite into it. Just bite into the cheese wholesale. With a glass of water on the side. 50 subscribers and patrons, that's what you get for it. I'll even put that on the Patreon, to be honest. I'm excited. I'll find out people to make you talk more about cheese. Tier list cheese episode. I actually don't like bacon at all. It tastes too strong. Yeah, bacon isn't that good. Not gonna lie. I'll just say that now. All right. Anyway, let me do my usual outro because honestly, I need to kind of like do something. I need to do something else. Real quick. Next week, we're not having a regular podcast. Next week, we're having a watch party. I'm doing a watch party with two of my YouTube friends. We're going to be watching some YouTube dub some Webtoon animated content. Not the Netflix stuff yet. We're going to start with all the stuff on YouTube. We're going to watch it. We're going to tell some opinions. So if you're having a fun time, you want to have a watch party, you want to come in, chat, join us, talk with us. It's going to be 3 of us. We're going to be shooting the shit. Rosebird is one of my 2 friends. Look forward to that, guys. Look forward to that. Not Morbius stream. We're not going to morb, unfortunately. We're going to Webtoon morb. We're going to morb Webtoon, I guess. And then what else is there? Yeah, make sure you subscribe on Twitch. We can do that now. Hey! That's all I want to do, really. Say subscribe on Twitch. And also put money on the Patreon. Patreon.com/Webcomics Hub. Every $1 you give me lets me buy more cheese for the cheese cast. Twitter and follow me on twitter.com/webcomics_hub or at webcomics_hub on Twitter or at webcomics hub, one word, everywhere else. Join my Discord server. In fact, I'm going to get that fucking link out. I don't know why I don't push my server. I'm so bad at marketing. Here is Cheesecast. Make sure you put money in the Patreon and subscribe for the Cheesecast, kids. Here's the Discord link. You can join my Discord server. I'll be in there sometimes in voice chat. You can just post your art. We're trying to build a small little community of little fun friends. Join. It's an old server. I'm trying to get to a different point. The Cheese podcast needs to be called the Sigma Grind Set. How did you know I was into Sigma Grind Set memes? Who are you and why do you know where I live? Me and my son thrive on cheese. So that's all the ways you can give me money. You also got a PayPal if you want to give me a one-off, or a Ko-fi if you also want to give me a one-off. Other than that, that's all of our stuff. I've been Nen. You've been Sigma Cheese Awesome, right? Just pester me on Twitter all you want. I don't mind. And I'll see you guys next week with the watch party. Get some popcorn. We're gonna be watching My Giant Nerd Boyfriend, probably the Let's Play, and probably the Boyfriend's animations. Those are the ones we'll probably watch. Okay. Oh, and probably the one from the short story contest. Anyway, other than that, I've been Nen, you've been awesome. Good night, everyone. Good night, New York. Yay. Woo.